40 miles from Bogotá, by the way the crow flies, a new coffee project is underway in the eastern Andean mountain range. By car, it's around a 90-minute trip, one made frequently by Felipe Sardi and Elisa Mariñan, owners of this project, which they've dubbed Palma y El Tucan. At their farm, they host quality coffee professionals from around the world to learn more about the craft of coffee production on the other side of the roaster, at the source. Felipe argues that given the pressures of the global market, quality production is a struggle the average coffee-growing family is not properly equipped to endure. He says most farmers rely on conventional production practices supported and subsidized by the National Coffee Fund. That's a mix of government aid, private sector investment, and an export tax on all coffee leaving the country.
The point is that it is definitely a very important crop for the country, because 500,000 coffee growing families are involved. Over 2 million people depend on it. Socially and politically, you can imagine it's a very relevant issue to have them, to support them and to have them survive. But the fact is that the price premiums that the market is paying for our coffee is not enough for the production yields and the quality that we can achieve as a country.
So, by and large, coffee production in Colombia, and across the world for that matter, is not exactly a profitable business. If you're a small farmer averaging around 1.5 hectares, it's going to be very tough to invest the time and the money to produce a quality cup. So one of the things that Palma y El Tucan is doing is they're sourcing cherry from surrounding farms. And instead of investing time and money and infrastructure on those small producers' farms, they're just centralizing it here and processing them on behalf of the small farmers, who they're working with as a part of their Neighbors and Crops program.
Well, through the Neighbors and Crops program, we are trying to work with 100 coffee growing families around our project. Their age is an average 62 years old. So we said, all right, we needed to offer them something new, something different. We incentivize these coffee growing families through monetary and through non-monetary means. So the monetaries are basically quality premiums, commitment premium. If they sold to us last year or the year before, they would get that as well. A community contribution, and for those who are organic certified, we would pay an extra premium of organic. So we work with 4 premiums on top of the highest price that the FNC provides on a daily basis to the region.
And it has been also a way to integrate the traditional coffee community in Colombia to an innovative model. We could have just bought a farm and plant 5 different varieties and only commercialize this high-end coffees, but we wanted to integrate the community and also have an impact in the coffee culture in Colombia.
Elisa tells us that the Neighbors and Crops program represents 90% of Palma y El Tucan's production. After totaling all of the premiums attached to their coffee cherry, neighbor farmers can receive as much as 50% more for it than the average picker in Colombia, without having to manage the cumbersome processing stage normally undertaken by traditional farmers. Neighbor Leonor Rodriguez explains this labor-intensive process when she sold coffee through strictly conventional channels. Through Palma y El Tucan, her work input is less, and her coffee now reaches small batch roasters focused on premium quality.
A las 3 de la mañana, a levantarme para lavar el café, pasar las paceras, ponerlas en el sol, secarlo, ya lo que estaba seco de agua, pasarlo al zarzo o al silo. Entonces todo el día mantenía uno en eso. Y cuídelo de las gallinas y cuídelo de la gente, porque no faltaba quien llegara y se llevara un bultico ya arreglado.
Había mucho trabajo,
sí,
¿verdad?
Sí, mucho trabajo, sí señor. Mientras que ahorita es muy fácil porque no gasto mucha agua, no gasto luz. El tiempo que lavaba y todo eso lo escojo y no se alcanza a ir ese tiempo. Entiendo. Entonces para mí ha sido favorable.
¿Cómo ha crecido ese programa en los últimos años?
Nosotros llevamos en este programa, no tengo bien, pero me parece que vamos para de 3 a 4 años que llevamos con vecinos. Y se ha visto el progreso, ¿sí? O sea, entre más días, más fincas quieren venderle a la empresa y más, porque es un proyecto bueno, o sea, eso en sí es bueno, porque el caficultor se estará ahí beneficiando en muchas cosas. Él no tendría que conseguir recolectores, porque los recolectores los conseguimos nosotros mismos, no tendría que beneficiar, no tendría que transportar, no tendría que secar ni lavar, entonces es algo que prácticamente es muy bueno para ellos.
I think one of the most important things is the team that we have, because we have people from different backgrounds working in the farm and in the office, and working with people that have such passion and that also share the same values as us towards coffee. It's beautiful. You can talk with them and they have different ideas, but always with the love for coffee, for looking for people with the knowledge and that want to know more and more and more about coffee, that want to experiment, that want to risk, and that want to challenge traditional models.
For example, for the cherry pickers, it has been a tradition to have a very informal job. So what we're doing is giving them insurances for any accidents or anything that can happen to them in the farm, so that we make sure that they are all covered in case that something happens to them while they're working.
In addition to going against the grain of traditional models, La Palma y El Tucan, like many farms in Latin America, faces a changing climate. This presents yet another set of challenges to coffee production, many of which require more labor to overcome, a tall order when managing multiple farms under a loose collective.
¿Cuál es el desafío más común trabajando con los vecinos?
Lo más común es que, por ejemplo, en estos momentos y este año lo que más más complicado es por lo del calentamiento.
¿Verdad?
Sí, por lo que hay mucho café vano. Entonces eso sí se nos ha complicado un poquito, porque muchas veces el café no madura, sino que se seca.
Sí.
Llega a un punto pintón y seca, no madura. Entonces ese producto no nos sirve a nosotros. Entonces a veces es complicado manejar a los vecinos en ese sentido. Es como lo más complicado este año.
The day we spoke with the harvesters, they were in the middle of picking cherry damaged by this year's intense heat. While the labor is menial and climate shocks call for more resources to maintain quality, the proposition of coffee farming isn't altogether unattractive to the next generation. This particular harvester and marketing student, Johanna, is interested in someday running her own farm with her sisters, selling quality to clients around the world, just as La Palma y El Tucan does.
Quiero es tener mi propia empresa.
Su propia empresa.
Sí.
Haciendo qué?
Me gusta el café.
Ah, qué bueno.
Yo provengo de familia cafetera.
Ah, ¿verdad?
Sí.
En Santander.
Sí.
¿Qué vas a llamar su tienda?
Su empresa. Pues habíamos pensado llamarla Las Margaritas.
Las Margaritas.
Sí.
Until more of the next generation takes to coffee production, Colombia, like much of Latin America, runs the risk of losing small farmers. For now, for Leonor and nearly 100 farmers near La Palma y El Tucan estate, the Neighbors and Crops program buys added time to handle other farm activities that may have gone neglected in recent years.
Pues la finca la quiero es arreglar bien, porque como primero pues vendíamos el café ahí, bueno, llegaba la cosecha, poníamos cualquier 10, 15 obreros y en 3 días lo recogíamos. Y muélalo en el motor y la máquina y lave, seque y échelo al silo y séquelo y véndalo. Pero ahora ya no es así, ya se cambió la fórmula. Entonces ahorita pues yo lo que quiero es acabar la cosecha, organizar, sembrar más café, poner la finca como más bonita para que se amañen. Eso es lo que pienso, ¿no? ¿Quién sabe mi Dios qué pensará?
Ahorita sí como quiera, ¿cierto?
Gracias, amiga. ¿Por qué tumbaron ese café?
Lo aprobaron. No, imagínese ya.